Hi there, this is Jonathan or Epic Fail, and this video is kind of a recap on Zan's Nature of the Universe. Zan, if you put up your own video, feel free to ask me to take this one down. I can't go into as much depth or as accurately as yours, but I would still like to make an effort to kind of give people a rundown as far as what I gathered from it. Zan's Nature of the Universe class focused a lot, at least for me, on numerology and how numbers are not just a way to express quantity, but to express the quality of the item being described. So, for example, starting with 0, Zan started with silence. Silence is 0. Silence is nothing. It is the nothing before the something of speech, sound. It is the contrast that we need in order to understand the number 1. So what Zan did was he illustrated it with the number 0. The number 0 was a blank page, or if you want to take a step back, the number 0 itself, a circle, is the empty space within a boundary, the nothingness of a boundary. With nothing there, that is 0. So the contrast then is 1. 1 as a number signifies a whole, a completion. That circle is both 0 and 1, in the sense that there is one circle. In contrast to the nothingness around the circle, and the nothingness in the circle, there is only 1. 1 shows a complete system. The second one the second or next one was 2. 2 represents the duality. So Zan took the circle and, to my recollection, he drew a wave through it to show the yin-yang, how 2 lines, the initial circle and the circle, or the line that cut through the circle, 2 parts create 2 halves to the circle, bringing in the yin and the yang. Now, even with the fact that there are 2, that duality can come to 1. When Zan brought that up, the nature of the universe in sense of 2s is we are both the whole and the part. We are the 1 and the 2. We have multiple little parts that make us up. We have the mind and the body that make us up and make us 1. Together with mind and body, we become something greater. And that moves on to number 3. The 3 is important because things will always be stronger in terms of 3. The best description of a shape is a 3, a triangle. If you push on one side or another side, it will adjust its force. It has 3 equal angles that will always be balanced, and that's why you can build structures off of triangles. 3 is also a symbol of strength. Zan used the illustration, if you take 2 cords and braid them, they'll untie. There's nothing to hold them together. But when you braid 3 strands together, you create a cord that is more durable than the individual powers of 1, 2, or of 1 and 2. I apologize for that. And this, to me, brought to mind the word synergy. When 2 things or 3 things work together in a way to be greater than each of the individual parts added up. And the universe naturally tends to that. So that was what I took away from 3. 4 was how 4 is a very human number. There are 4 sides to a square. A square will build and lean one way or another, because it doesn't have that ability to lean on itself. It will drop or fall. 4 is the manifestation of humans, I guess was the short version. 4 is a block, 4 is a building, and 4 almost had an almost negative connotation to me, because it was 2 sets of 2. In the sense that there's a balance in its shape, but when we go and try and make 4 things, there's a difficulty, there's a lack of power. 4 is I guess the human condition is the way Zan was describing it. Zan constantly also referred back to circles and toroids, and how the circles and toroids are waves that show how numbers can be expressed artistically. Zan, I would like it if you posted an entire video on just the toroids and circles, because there was a beautiful discussion on that. The next is 5. 5 is the manifestation of unconscious thought, untangible reality in a way that can be grasped physically. Zan built a pentagon and showed the star inside of it, and how 5 is really important to the Fibonacci sequence. Fibonacci sequence shows that you can take any individual pieces that make up a shape and create this constantly growing spiral. 5 is when 2 and 3, when groupings and synergy come together and build something that constantly spirals out and grows, in the sense of Tool. If you listen to Lateralis, or Lateralius, I apologize to Tool fans, I don't know how to pronounce it. But 5 is a very interesting one, especially because it goes through and you have the different sizes of shapes that you can go through and build structures that are mathematically sound by using this principle of 5 in the Fibonacci sequence. And then the final one was 6. We ended on 6 because 6 is 2 sets of 3, or 3 and 3 in a group of 2, and how with 6 comes that balance and growth of an individual. Granted, there were a lot of other things that I was thinking about and correlating towards Zan's discussion, and I would love to see an entire breakdown and outline of what Zan went through. This is mostly a recap to go over what I got, and the biggest ones I've kind of seen has been the effect of numbers and how strongly they tie into the properties of what they're describing. Zan also spent a lot of time talking about toroids and toroidal energy. For those of you who are unfamiliar with the shape or the principle of it, it's basically a donut, and how the flow of energy around a toroid, if you imagine kind of a slinky wrapped around in on itself, and you take that coil and you follow it through, that toroid motion generates a field or a wave around it. And Zan went through and showed how 1, 2, 3, 4, all of these numbers related to a toroid, which was a very wonderful and well thought out discussion. So this is my breakdown as far as all of the things I remembered. I couldn't write down anything because I was so enthralled. I recommend anyone who has a chance, please take Zan's classes. They are they're not just a learning, they're not just an education, they're just not knowledge, they are a coming together of understanding. So thank you, Zan, for that amazing class. To those who joined us in the class, thank you very much. That was a really fun class, Zan. Thank you for teaching, and I look forward to the next one. And again, if anyone has any sort of videos that they remember of other things from Zan's class, or have other thoughts that they want to add, please respond to this, shoot me a message. But yeah, this is Jonathan signing off. Thank you everyone for listening, and I hope that other people can add to this.